incredible talk last night. He runs the Washington, D.C. office for Liberty Council, one of the best organizations in America in the freedom fight. Jonathan, thank you for being with us. Thank you. We've only got about a minute and a half left, but tell us, what can people do to get involved with Liberty Council? What are some of the key things you guys are working on, and where can people find you?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. The website, just to answer that question, is lc.org, lc.org, and the fight that Liberty Council is in currently, it's the fight that we've been in for 30 years, ultimately to restore religious liberty, to restore the sanctity of life, to restore the family as preeminent in the United States. And one of the areas that's been targeted the most, especially religious liberty in this past year, has been with regard to the COVID lockdowns of churches. So where churches were treated differently from a Walmart or treated differently from a Home Depot or even a casino, where they were allowed to be open, churches were told that they had to shut down. And you had in America right before then where over 100 million Americans would attend church. You'd know where to find an American at 11 o'clock because we had our churches open. It's something that has defined our country from its outset, rendering His due praise within our lawfully protected sanctuaries. Well, for the first time in American history, we had pastors getting arrested, churches being threatened with being shut down, literally having letters received from churches that would say that we're going to tear your building down brick from brick because of the threat that you guys are posing, the public health that you guys pose. Well, we stood up and fought against that. We said no to those tyrannical government orders, and we've been able to fight and win not only openings for about 2,000 churches in 44 states, but we fought all the way up to the Supreme Court. And one of the cases was this California case that cited the pastor, threatened him with jail time, levied almost $3 million of fees against that pastor. But we not only won a permanent injunction to relieve that church of ever being shut down again, but because of the attorney's fees that the state of California now has to pay, Governor Newsom in the state of California wrote a $1.35 million check to our law firm, establishing that from here on out, no church can ever be treated differently, no church can ever be shut down. There's a permanent injunction, and any time that church government wants to do that against California, it will be held in contempt of court. And Californians are environmentalists and they're worried about green, and so that's basically the Green New Deal. Cash payments will be paid out by your state if they treat churches differently. And so that's really where our work is. Of course, the COVID lockdowns have evolved into forcing individuals now to take vaccines, and so much of the work that we've been doing is arming individuals, whether they're in universities or in hospitals, individuals that have a religious and a moral objection to taking these vaccines that contain aborted fetal tissue, both in the testing and in the production of the vaccines. Folks that do not want to take the vaccine don't have to do it, and so we're arming them with the tools that they need to fight back against their employers, students fight back against their universities, and teachers, so that they don't have to take this vaccine. We're also active on the pro-life front, and of course the Mississippi law that's going up to the Supreme Court will help support this ban on abortion, ultimately overturning Roe v. Wade. And that's really the areas that we've been active with. Certainly there's an uptick of activity in the last year, but we've been consistently fighting in the space for the rights of Americans.
Yeah, Jonathan, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you guys do. And folks, last year at Camp Constitution, Jonathan was here also. And I'll tell you, his speech here, I mean, when he was done, people were on their feet. It was a sight to behold. And last year, he gave a talk that was also incredible, talking about the Equality Act. And I loved what you said. I've actually borrowed your language. So we're not going to bow down to your golden idol, the LGBT machine. And you talked about the Equality Act. We've only got about a minute, maybe a minute 30 left. Break down the Equality Act for us, why it's such a threat. And folks, if you want to know more about the Liberty Council, we'll probably run out of time. But I recently interviewed Matt Staver for the New America. We did a long interview. Go watch that. This is such a great group. But in the last minute that we have, break down the Equality Act for us and why it's such a threat.
Certainly. The Equality Act is the greatest threat to religious liberty. It places sexual orientation and gender identity within a protected class in federal government. So for the first time in history, they're elevating sexual orientation, which is gay identity, and transgenderism as a protected class. For the first time in history, it targets the Religious Freedom Restoration Act that says you will not be able to make a claim or defense against being forced to host same-sex marriages in your church, or if you have a housing development, host homosexuals within your housing development. If you're a teacher, You will have to, recognize the new transgender pronouns of your students. So many facets of life. Even if you have a home business and you're hanging out a shingle, as a home business, you have to recognize same-sex attraction and transgender behavior, despite it violating your religious beliefs. And for the first time in history, the force of federal government is going to be pushing this. The law is H.R. 5. It's already passed the House. It's trying to make its way through the Senate, and you have a Democrat president that says he will sign it. But we're going to fight. We're going to fight hard against this, preserve religious liberty, and fight back against the LGBT agenda.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Folks, it's lc.org. Thank you for watching. I'm Alex Newman, guest hosting for my friend Dr. Alan Keyes. We appreciate y'all so much. I told you today was going to be a special treat, just an incredible lineup of guests. Share this video out with your friends. If you're listening to it by audio, share that out with your friends. Stay tuned for more. God bless you all, and take good care. Bye-bye.
Okay, we're clear.
Thank you, Hunter. Appreciate it.